meant to be the funny part. And she came up to me on the street and said, I just want to thank you because I was late in life diagnosed with autism. And I just want to thank you for your representation. And I didn't know how to feel about this, because on one hand, I'm just trying to be a stand-up comedian. I never thought that maybe one day I'd be considered a role model for this marginalised neurodivergent group. But on the other hand, I have never been diagnosed with autism. Turns out I've been raising awareness for everybody but myself. She said she was late in life diagnosed. I was like, I reckon I can beat that. I'm just finding out now. But she also said, what I like about you is you're out here, you're not masking. And I didn't know what that meant. I had to go home and Google it. And it turns out masking, that's when people with autism have to cover up their behaviours, so that way they're not judged by the rest of society. So she came up to me and said, not only are you autistic, but you're not very good at hiding it. You're laughing, but you're like, no, she's right. But when she said that to me, I was shaken. So she also diagnosed me with Parkinson's. I didn't mind that she thought I was autistic, because a lot of people in my life that I love have autism, my friends, every male member of my family. I just don't think you should diagnose strangers on the street. I didn't go up to her and say, oh, you've got early onset rudeness. You wouldn't go up to a woman on the street and say, congratulations on your pregnancy. We all know that's inappropriate. Well, I had to be told that, so... Yeah, I'm not very good at picking up on social cues, but... Maybe I should go and get diagnosed. But to get diagnosed, you need to be seen twice. And I'm having quite a hard time tracking down this random woman on the street. But thank you all for coming out, because this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a comedian. Growing up, I'd tell my parents that, and they were like, ooh. Maybe you should go to uni and get a degree. And so I did. I went to uni and I studied philosophy. And my parents were like, ooh, maybe you should get into comedy. But philosophy is good. The most annoying thing about philosophy is that people like to talk to you about philosophy, even if they haven't studied it themselves. Like one time after a show, a man, he came up to me and he said, what's your philosophy? And I said, well, my thesis was about whether or not the universe is deterministic in nature and whether or not all the world's events had to occur in the order they did, and could our concept of free will survive in such a universe, or do we have to do a complete overhaul of our understanding of metaphysics? And then I said, what's your philosophy? And he said, don't sweat the small stuff. I was like, no, they didn't teach us anything practical like that. And when you said philosophy, I didn't realise you meant the kind that could be sung about by an animated warthog and meerkat. But also back at uni, I used to have to tutor students in philosophy. And actually, 2,000 years ago, Socrates, he was put to death for teaching children philosophy because they thought he was corrupting the youth. So I'm a bit of a bad boy. Some of the laughter is hurtful, but I had a relative pass away, and I was away at the time of the funeral, and I was busy at the time of the funeral, so I got sent a link to watch the funeral on demand, and I clicked on the link, and it took me to this web page. And it had every funeral that this place had done recently. Yeah, it was like the bleakest streaming service you would ever see. But I don't like to stop after one episode, so I binged the whole season. I bought a mattress protector. Things are going pretty well for me. I didn't know what one was. My mate told me to get it. I was like, oh, I don't think I need one of those, because I've been sleeping for 30 years and no one has ever stolen my mattress before. I don't need to pay for that service. If someone comes in, they'll see me on the mattress and they'll go, oh no, that must be the mattress protector. Whenever I see a mattress on the side of the road, I think I would never let that happen to you. I'll do anything for my queen. Well, you've given me that applause, it's forced me to leave the stage now. I'm not going to do better than that, am I?